I never believed in love. Not the kind that lasts. Not the kind people risk everything for. To me, love was unpredictable. Messy. Temporary. So I chose something safer. Something controlled. I hired a fake boyfriend. What I didn't expect was that pretending would feel more real than anything I had ever known. My name is Tessa. I'm 29, independent, successful, and constantly reminded that I am alone. Every conversation with my family led to the same place. Questions about marriage. Subtle disappointment. Comparisons to others who had already figured life out. First I ignored it. But when my sister's wedding came closer, ignoring it wasn't an option anymore. I could already picture the wedding. Questions. The looks. The quiet judgment wrapped in polite smiles. I didn't want to explain myself again. So instead, I created a solution. Not emotional. Not romantic. Strategic. I decided to hire someone to play the role. Boyfriend. Just for the weekend. Most of the profiles felt artificial. Too polished. Too rehearsed. Then I saw him. Daniel. There was something different about him. Something calm. Something real. And that was enough. I made the decision instantly, without realizing how much that one click would change everything. The first meeting was supposed to be simple. Conversation. An agreement. Transaction. But it didn't feel like that. There was no awkwardness. No forced interaction. Everything felt natural. I explained the plan. The expectations. The boundaries. And somehow it all felt easy. Too easy. We set rules. No real feelings. No blurred lines. No attachments after the wedding. Everything would end the moment it was over. Clean. Simple. If that was the plan. And at the time, I believed I could follow it. The moment we arrived at the wedding, everything changed. The reactions were immediate. Surprise. Curiosity. Approval. And just like that, the pressure disappeared. The act was working. But something else was happening too. Something I hadn't planned for. It didn't feel like acting. Later that night, when everything became quiet, something shifted. There was no audience. No expectations. Just two people, existing in the same moment. And for the first time I felt seen. Not judged. Not analyzed. Just understood. Caught me off guard. Because that wasn't part of the arrangement. The more time we spent together, the harder it became to separate what was real from what wasn't. Conversations became deeper. Silences became comfortable. Moments stretched longer than they should have. And somewhere along the way, the lines started to blur. The night of the wedding changed everything. What started as part of the act slowly became something else. The music faded into the background. The room disappeared. And for a brief moment, nothing else existed. There was no pretending in that moment. Only feeling. And that was the problem. Reality has a way of returning when you least expect it. And just like that, the moment ended. Everything snapped back into place. The rules. The boundaries. The truth. It wasn't real. It was never supposed to be. So I did what felt safest. Created distance. I reminded myself of the agreement. I forced everything back into its original shape. Because feeling something real was never part of the plan. When the wedding ended, so did everything else. No dramatic ending. No emotional goodbye. Just silence. And then absence. The kind that doesn't feel loud at first, but slowly grows heavier with time. Life returned to normal. Schedules. Responsibilities. Routine. But something was different. Something was missing. And no matter how much I tried to ignore it, couldn't. Didn't happen all at once. Came in quiet moments. In memories I couldn't stop replaying. In the absence I couldn't explain. Until finally, the truth became impossible to ignore. It was never just an act. Least, not for me. Somewhere along the way, I had fallen in love. For once, I didn't overthink. I didn't analyze. I didn't hesitate. I reached out. 'Cause some chances don't come twice. And some people aren't meant to be temporary. Everything felt different this time. There were no roles, no expectations, only honesty, the kind that feels uncomfortable, but necessary, the kind that changes everything. The truth, once spoken, has a way of shifting everything. What was uncertain became clear. What was hidden became visible. And what was once pretend revealed itself as something real. This time there was no performance, no audience, no rules, just a choice. To feel, to risk something real, without knowing how it would end. I started this to avoid love, to control it, to keep it at a distance. But love doesn't work that way. Doesn't follow rules. It doesn't wait for permission. And sometimes, the love you try to fake becomes the only thing that's real. Oh, tell me, would you take that risk? Would you let something fake become real? Or would you walk away before it ever had the chance?